Hi, everyone. Sorry I'm a couple minutes late. So, something's not working with the microphone today. So, it's going to have to be the sound from my computer. So, anyway, welcome. If you're new to me, welcome. And let me take off my glasses because I'm not reading anything today. I didn't write anything today. I didn't do a Memorial Day episode because I figured that everybody, hold on a second, is the camera on? Is the camera on? Okay, the camera's on. Just making sure. Technical difficulties, my little thing. So, in any case, I wanted to, though I didn't do this episode on the Memorial Day weekend because I figured everybody is out of town, they're away, everybody's on vacation, everyone is doing their own thing, and so I figured I'll do it the following week. And it's been a couple weeks. I didn't do one right after Mother's Day because I was out of town. So anyway, again, if you're new to my channel and if you've never seen the Jewish stripper Raw and Real with Alla Kaplan, I am Alla Kaplan, if it's hard to see on the banner or the little sign. So in any case, um, welcome to my channel on YouTube is either the Jewish stripper, you could just pull it up by that, or my name, Alla, Alla, Kaplan, Kaplan, 3270. That's at YouTube, on YouTube. So I wanted to take time to thank today all the veterans and all the people serving in the military, not just in the United States, but around the world. But I want to, first of all, say a special, very special thank you to everyone, not only the people in the armed forces, but I want to also thank their families because it's such a huge sacrifice for someone to serve not only in the military, to go in the military, but they're away from their family for sometimes years, sometimes months at a time, years at a time. They have families that give to our country, not just the people serving in the Navy, in the Air Force, Army, Marines, all of the branches. I hope I mentioned, but it's just it's a huge deal for someone to want to serve their country. And I actually want to mention that when I'm from Russia originally, and my family had my grandmother's brothers served in the Russian army. And I think it's a big deal because we're Jewish and they were very anti Semitic in those times, back in the war. But my family, they chose to serve their country anyway. And so it's a huge thing to choose to serve your country. Why, as am I saying all of this? Why am I taking time to thank the military personnel and their families? Because they are protecting our freedoms. They're protecting, and you might think, no matter what their affiliation is, if they're on the right or the left, if they're Democrat, Republican, whatever they are, they choose to serve no matter what they believe in. What they believe in, I'm pretty sure, is God and country. That's the biggest thing of all. And they choose to serve no matter what their affiliation. And I think that it's a remarkable thing for someone to be willing to give their life for your life. They're willing to give their life for your freedom of speech, for your freedom to, do whatever it is you do in your life. When you're, doing your daily job, when you're living your life and you get to be with your family every day, when you get to come home to your family every day, when you're doing the mundane things of life, like shopping or, taking care of your children, taking your kids to school. Those are privileges that we get because someone is watching over us, and that someone is the military. And the sacrifices that they make, their families make, with not having them around. Sometimes, they're having babies and they haven't seen their baby, and they have a newborn baby and they haven't gotten to hold a newborn baby. And other people, they serve so that we can do those things. So I wanted to give a special shout out to people who basically dedicate their life to preserving freedoms for us. And one thing I want to mention, I know that Facebook has a new policy that after 30 days, your videos are going to be taken down. And I thought at first that it was something about maybe that I had said about freedom of speech or current events between Israel and Palestine. But it turns out that there's a new policy. If you put your video on Facebook, it's going to be deleted every 30 days. They don't have the capacity to continue to keep them, on your server, whatever. But I want to say that thank you to the military for defending our freedom of speech. And for what's going on right now within the world, where people are trying to eradicate basically an entire people, and that's the Jewish people. And I want to thank not only the military of the United States, but the military of the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces. I want to thank them as well, and their families. And I want, we have this freedom to go and protest, and they have the same freedoms in Israel. We have the right to criticize our government, to criticize other cultures, to criticize groups like Hamas. We have those rights. And a lot of that comes from Israel being the first line of defense for the Western world. Because what's going on in the world right now is that there are radical Muslims. I'm not talking about peaceful Muslims. I'm talking about the radical Muslims who basically raise their children from the time that they're in diapers to go and kill Jews. But the West is next. If you got rid of every Jew in the world today, the next step would be Europe and America. And that's what's happening. And that's why it is so special what the military does around the world. Not just, there are people serving in the military from Canada. There are people serving in the military from England, from France, from all around the world. That I want to say a special thank you to the Israeli forces, because what they're doing is not, to me, a genocide. What they're doing to me is not a colonization. It's quite the opposite. It's actually the Palestinian people who've been colonized by their own people, Hamas, who now they're starting to speak out, even, but they can be killed. But they're starting to, the Palestinians, speak out to the world about what Hamas is doing by taking their food, by taking away their rights. They don't have the freedom to speak out against their government. They don't have the freedom to go and stand and protest in the streets. They have to hide what they feel, if they feel that their government is wrong, if what Hamas is doing is wrong, by killing their own people, by restricting the sources of food and water and to them. And it's a big, huge lie that Israel is committing a genocide. Quite the opposite. What they're doing is, like I said, they're cleaning for the rest of the world. With the rest of the world, they're the first line of defense in the Middle East, the only country, in democratic country in the Middle East, where people can also criticize their own government, where people can speak out when they're unhappy with what's going on, if they don't like what they see, when they have the right there to protest in the streets, where they have the right, people have the right to be gay, lesbian, bisexual, whatever, the whole LBGQT community, everyone, people run actually from Palestine to go to Israel, gay people, bisexual people, whatever, with people who cannot have the freedom to love who they love, to be with who they want to be the person they want to be as they were born. They don't have these freedoms in Palestine, and they run to Israel and they leave so that they will not be killed, so they don't have to hide who they are. And that's the same freedom that our military protects here in the US. And why is that so important? It's important to me because the freedom to be whatever you want to be, to marry who you want to marry, the military here in the US. Oh, I just had a earring fall out. Okay. So they have the right to be whoever they want to be, but they want to be free, and they want to love who what they want they love, and be the way that the person was born, if that's who they are, and that's who they are. But just remember that freedom isn't free. I think that's a very important point to make. Freedom isn't free because it's the military, it's the families of our military who they one second, I'm sorry. So anyway, um they have the right, it's the military here, the US Defense Forces, our freedoms are being eroded. Our freedom by the people who protest in the streets not just against Israel, not just against the Jewish people, not just against the West. What do they really want? They want an complete Islamic state in the entire world, Europe, Africa, Asia. They will go after whoever they want to go after. When they're done, when they think that they're going to go and erode Israel completely, eradicate Israel. The West is next. That's all I could tell you. The West is next. I keep saying this. I repeat this. Yes, it's very repetitive, but it's very important for me to express that how the military, that freedom isn't free, that the families of the military, they pay for our freedoms too by not being able to be with their loved ones, by not being able to see that, to see them even for months at a time. It's such an honor to know that someone is out there. We sleep under the blanket of the freedoms that they provide. We live, do everything that we want to do, that we have women who have the freedoms to do whatever they want to do. They don't have to cover themselves. They Women can walk around and live, have their jobs. And I also want to, mention that a lot of people under the misconception that the Israeli Defense Force, like I said, is committing a genocide. And this is just not true. It's a libel, it's a blood libel that's been put on the Jewish people for centuries, centuries, not for the last 70, 80 years, but for centuries. There's been a blood libel against the Jewish people. And that is exactly what the Israeli military is fighting for. They're not just fighting for the freedoms of the Israeli people, of the Jewish people around the world. They're fighting for your freedom, your freedom. The America and Israel, yes, they are tied together, and they absolutely, in my opinion, have to be. It's not a choice. Those people, those Americans who aren't even Jewish, who stand with Israel, and those are the Americans who are in the military protecting not only, Jews around the world, but they're also protecting, unfortunately, America has become kind of the police of the world. And so when we police the world for injustice, and when we police the world because there are freedoms being eroded in other countries, and I'm not just talking about the state of Israel. I'm talking about, as I said, places like Iran, places like Qatar, places like Turkey, just to name a few in the Middle East, Yemen, whatever. Take your pick, where there's places where women don't have any rights, gay people have, or whatever people are, have absolutely no rights. They cannot, hold a job in certain areas. I mean, there are people. There's still places in the world where women cannot drive a car. It's ridiculous. It sounds ridiculous, but this is what the military uh, around the world is fighting against. And I don't want people to mistake and believe in these lies that we're somehow, because whatever's going on with the president, with the country, with the Congress, the Senate, with everything that's going on politically, remember to make sure that you understand and remember that politically it doesn't really matter for the people in the military. They take their politics and don't don't stress over the politics. What they do is something beyond imagination. What they go through to train to be in the military, what they are. And by the way, I will mention that in Israel, women have to serve in the military unless they have some sort of disability or reason that they can't serve. In Israel, women have to enlist in the military after high school, people before they go to college. And I believe they have to serve 2 or 3 years, just like the men. Why is that so important? Because these women are flying planes, these women are driving tanks, these women are trained pretty much to kick your ass. And I think that's an amazing policy. I think it's amazing that women have to know how to defend themselves and others. That is a fantastic thing that they do. And also, so they're taking on, these women are also taking on, and thank you, the women, the American women. I have a friend that was from school, a friend from school who became a lieutenant in the Navy. And it was amazing because, to be honest, she was a party girl in high school, in middle school and high school. And I was amazed when I found out that she had actually gone to the Naval Academy and became a lieutenant in the Navy. I was kind of shocked, but I want to say thank you also to the women who serve all around the world in militaries. That's something that, it takes a hell of a strong person to go through what they go through. And I want to thank every single person, not, like I said, not just in the United States, but around the world, in Israel, in every country, Canada, France, Germany, England, whatever, the United Kingdom, Ireland, everyone who is in, and I want to remember, and also um, mention, like I said before, the members of my grandmother's family who served in the war and some died in the war. And it's a huge deal to want to serve your country and protect your freedoms and keep the boogeyman basically away from you, and to keep the life that the what we are accustomed to for our freedoms, so that we can do whatever we want to do, that we want to achieve, or just, to live your regular life and to be able to do that. And the fact that there are people that every day are, like I said, they're not able to be with their family, and also remember those that perished, remember the people who died for the freedoms, who died in World War I, in World War II, in every situation that where people served and they gave their lives and they perished because they wanted to serve us. They wanted to serve their country. They wanted to give back. That I don't think that there's a bigger way of giving back than to protect people and really give everyone a voice. And even the protesters that are out in the streets talking about burn America, burn the American flag, burn down the West, burn Europe, you know, that those people are able to go and do those protests because of these people who give their lives, who have a mission. Okay, this earring is just not going to stay in my ear today. Anyway, they give their lives and they have a mission to protect you while you sleep, while you go and have dinner with your friends and you party, you go to bars, you have fun, you live your life, whatever it is that you're doing in your life, that to remember that there's someone out there who is on the watch. They're watching the wall and they're on the watch for you. So I want to also just mention real quickly that I'm very honored and very excited and nervous that I will be on a podcast tomorrow, but I don't think it will be live. It may be posted the next day. It's called Victim to Victor with a woman who is an author. I'm done thanking the military, and I just want to mention that tomorrow I will be on the podcast doing taping at 5 o'clock tomorrow evening with Anu Verma, ANU, Verma, VERMA. She is a childhood trauma survivor and also adult abuse survivor as well. And she is an author. She's a published author, and she's also many other things. She has a master's, I believe, a PhD as well. She's British in the UK, and I read her book, Victim to Victor. The same, it's Victim to the number two, Victor, and I read her book, and I can't even express how impressed I am. She's also, I believe, a Reiki master, a yoga teacher. She's a healer, basically. I think she also has a degree in sports medicine. She is a very accomplished woman, and I am extremely excited, thrilled, nervous, and anxious, and honored to be invited to be on her podcast, which will probably be published, taped tomorrow evening, and probably be published everywhere on Tuesday, June 3rd. So I just want to mention that that's coming up, which is a really big deal for me. And anyway, I'm going to tell you all good night. And thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. And I appreciate every single one of you who are subscribers on my YouTube channel or following me on Facebook or just friends, family, everyone who supports me in this endeavor and is a part of my life. I love you all, and I want to thank you so much for watching and tuning in and being interested in what I do and following and subscribing. And if you're new on the YouTube channel, please hit the subscribe button and also the notification bell so that you're notified whenever I do a new video and a new episode. I appreciate you all very much. Thank you and have a great night.